You ever try building a simple cabin on your own land, only to have an HOA Karen call 911 like you're poisoning the whole county? That's me, Wyatt Coleman, 39 years old, knee-deep in lumber, on my 25-acre ranch outside San Antonio, Texas. My crime? Starting a cabin by my river, a clear stream, full of bass. I own outright. But Margaret Voss, self-proclaimed queen of Riverbend Estates, thought she owned it and lost her mind. Ever had a neighbor flip out over something they didn't get? It was a golden morning, Texas sun, rising slow, painting the sky fiery orange. I'd rolled up in my beat-up F-150, bed loaded with cedar planks, nails, and a toolbox. The ranch, my life savings. After 15 years, as a software engineer, grinding endless code, this was my dream. A quiet cabin by a river for remote work and fishing. As a kid, my dad took me to rivers like this. We'd cast lines, skip stones, sleep under stars. In his old army tent, he'd talk about building things that last, about neighbors who knew your name. This cabin wasn't just wood and nails. It was for him, for those memories, for something solid in a world spinning too fast. I was measuring the foundation, Buddy, my retriever, chasing dragonflies, when I heard the screech of tires. A black SUV roared up my drive, kicking gravel like a storm. Out stepped Margaret Voss, 58, obese, red blouse, black pants, short blonde hair, sticking out like a bad perm. She clutched a clipboard, striding toward me, like she owned every inch of my land. "Stop right there," she barked, voice sharp, enough to startle Buddy. "What do you think you're doing?" I sat down. My tape measure kept it calm. "Building a cabin, ma'am. Small place. To work and relax." Margaret's face turned beet red. "A cabin? Here?" She waved her clipboard at my lumber like it was trash. "This is Riverbend Estates. High-end community. Your shack will ruin our property values." I wiped my brow and stayed steady. "Ma'am, this is my land. Bought it 6 weeks ago. Got all the permits right here." I patted my folder on the ground. Her eyes narrowed. "Impossible. That river belongs to the HOA. We've managed it for 20 years. She flipped pages on her clipboard, muttering. "Rustic cabins, strictly prohibited. Minimum 2,500 square feet. Modern designs only." I kept cool, though her voice was like nails on a chalkboard. Nobody mentioned an HOA. My deeds clean. No covenants. Margaret smirked, like she'd won a prize. "I'm Margaret Voss, OA president. 15 years in real estate. I make the rules. You've got 24 hours to clear this mess, or I call the authorities." Before I could speak, she was on her phone, dialing 911. "Emergency, illegal construction on our riverfront. He's destroying our community. Send officers, now." And I stood there, hammer in hand, Buddy tilting his head like she was crazy. Destroying the community? With a pile of wood and a dream? I tried reasoning. "Ma'am, I've got permit, deed, survey. Let's talk." She shushed me, hand up, like I was a kid. "Don't speak. I know your type. Drifters, thinking you can ruin our standards." Buddy growled, low, sensing the tension. I pulled out my phone, showed the deed, PDF. "Look, property line includes the river. 100% mine. M. She didn't glance, just scoffed. Fake? Forged documents? I'm not fooled. Her face, now matching. Her red blouse, veins bulging. 10 minutes later, 2 cop cars. 2 pulled up, lights flashing. Like I was a fugitive. Officer Clara Hayes, 40s, tired eyes, stepped out, with Officer Sam Torres, younger, clearly over it. Margaret rushed them, clipboard waving. Arrest him. He's building an illegal shack, ruining our river. Hayes eyed my lumber, my stakes, my thermos. Sir, got permits? I handed over. My folder, permits, deed, survey map, all legal. Officer, land's mine. River 2. Hayes checked. They're her tablet. GPS matching. My documents. Looks good, ma'am, she said. To Margaret. He owns this, including the river. Margaret's jaw dropped. But HOA rights. We've controlled that river forever. Torres shook his head. Ma'am, a deed beats OA claims. You're trespassing right now. Margaret stomped, her foot, blonde hair bouncing. This isn't over. I know people at City Hall. You'll be sorry, Mr. Whoever. She stormed to her SUV, peeling out, gravel flying. Hayes returned. My papers. Mr. Coleman. She's a frequent flyer. Keep your docs close. As they drove off, I stared at the river. My dream. Now a fight. But I wasn't backing down. I set up my phone on a tripod. I hit record. Yo, what's up, everyone? Wyatt here. Just had cops called for building on my own land. Meet Margaret, HOA president, who thinks my river's hers. I panned to her tire tracks. Newsflash, it's not. I've got the deed. Posted the video online. Hours later, it blew up. 2,000 views, then 20,000, then 200,000. Comments exploded. Karen alert, take her down. This'll be epic. That evening, my neighbor, Earl Grayson, 72, white beard, cowboy boots, wandered over. Saw the circus. Son, he said, leaning on my fence. Margaret's trouble. Run off. 3 families with fines over nothing. I raised an eyebrow. Nothing? Earl nodded, sipping his coffee. Wrong mailbox color. Tall grass. Kids' bikes. Bankrupted him. And those river fees? $500 a year. Per house. Where's that cash? My fists clenched. She's charging? For my river? Yep, Earl said. Her brother-in-law, Roy Voss, city council, backs her up. That night, I couldn't sleep. River fees. Missing money. A bully with connections. I opened my laptop, dug into records. At 2 hours a.m. Jackpot. Riverbend HOA. 2021 budget. $500,000 for river maintenance. Spent $40,000. Where was $460,000? Buddy, she's stealing, I whispered, as he snored. And she wants my river. I called Tessa Blake, my lawyer. At dawn, Tessa, dig into Riverbend HOA. Water rights, budgets. Something's rotten. She chuckled. Wyatt, you picking a fight? Damn right, I said. And check. If the county sells river rights, money's no object. By noon, Tessa called. River rights, novantamila. County's open to sell. And the HOA, corporate setup. 30 voting shares. You could buy control. I grinned, heart racing. Start buying. Tessa, shares, rights, everything. My cabin's taking shape. Buy my river. But peace? That's a pipe dream. Margaret Voss. The HOA Karen, in her red blouse, black pants, short blonde hair, is out for blood. Her 911 call about my illegal cabin was just the start. Now, she's escalating, and I'm digging into her secrets. Earl's warning about missing money has me hooked. Day 5. Dawn quiet, sun glinting. Off the river, I was nailing beams, Buddy dozing in the shade. My live stream from the first 911 call had hit 500,000 views. Comments flooding in. Karen's unhinged. Own that river. I thought. Maybe Margaret had backed off. Then, sirens. 2 cop cars tearing down my drive. Dust swirling like a twister. My heart sank. Margaret marched up, obese frame, in that red blouse, black pants, clipboard waving, like a battle flag. He's polluting the river, she shrieked, pointing at my lumber, like it was toxic waste, construction debris, endangering our ecosystem. Officers Hayes and Torres and stepped out, Hayes rubbing her temples. Mrs. Voss, what's this about pollution? Margaret thrust a stack of papers at them. Sawdust. Nails. He's poisoning our water supply. She held up a Ziploc bag with a pinch of sawdust, like it was evidence of a crime. I stood there, hammer down, Buddy tilting his head. Ma'am, it's just sawdust from cutting wood, washes away in a rain. Hayes inspected my site, clean except for a few wood shavings. Mrs. Voss, this isn't pollution. It's a construction site with permits. Margaret's face went purple. Permits? He's destroying our riverfront. I've got research. She waved blurry printouts from some blog titled Dangers of Sawdust. Torres snorted, barely hiding it. Ma'am, sawdust isn't easy a biohazard. It's how cabins get built. Margaret spun on him. Are you an environmental expert? No? Then don't lecture me. End of. I grabbed my phone. I started live streaming. Day 5. Folks, now I'm a polluter because of sawdust. Margaret's second call to 911. The viewer count jumped. 50,000, 100,000. Comments rolling. Sawdust terrorist. She needs a hobby. Someone donated $25 for your sawdust cleanup. Hayes sighed. Deep. Mrs. Voss, this is your second false call. One more, and you're facing charges for misusing 911. Margaret didn't budge. Stood there, snapping photos of my lumber, muttering about EPA violations. She finally left, SUV screeching, as I nailed another beam. That night, Earl limped over, cowboy hat low. She's desperate. Wyatt, those river fees? She's been charging $500 a year per family for a decade. Nobody knows where it goes. I frowned, doing the math. 30 families, 10 years. That's $150,000. For what? Earl shrugged. Not maintenance. River's a mess. Her brother-in-law, Roy Voss, city council, covers for her. I couldn't sleep. Opened my laptop. Dug deeper. County records. Showed Riverbend HOA. Got a $700,000 grant in 2020 for riverbank restoration. Spent $60,000. Where was $640,000? My pulse raced. Buddy, she's stealing. Big, I said, as he snored. I called Tessa, my lawyer, at 6 hours a.m. Found $640,000 missing from a grant. Check HOA budgets, bank records, anything. Tessa whistled. Wyatt, That's federal fraud territory. I'm on it. And river rights? County signing. Tomorrow. 90,000. God dose, HOA shares. So far. I grinned. Keep buying. Tessa, we're taking her down. Day 12. I was up early, laying floorboards. River sparkling. Under dawn light. Sirens again. 3 cop cars. This time, Margaret. Red blouse. Black pants. Holding a decibel meter. Like a ghostbuster. Noise violation, she yelled, waving the device. His hammering. Is sonic harassment. Torres checked. The meter. Ma'am. The 15th of December eyeballs. Quieter than. You're shouting. Right now. Margaret's eyes bulged. It's the frequency. That banging disturbs residents. At 6 hours a.m. Hayes, barely holding it. Shook her head. Ma'am, people sleep. At 6 hours a.m. Because it's early. Not because of his hammer. Margaret shoved a binder at them. I've got complaints. 20 residents. Can't sleep. Hayes flipped through. Sighed. All signed. By you. Mrs. Voss. You can't file for others. I was live streaming. Again. Day 12. Everyone. My hammers. A weapon now. Margaret's third strike. The stream hit 300,000 viewers. Chat wild. Sonic Karen. Jail her. Someone donated $50 for a silent hammer. Hayes warned her. Third false call. Mrs. Voss. Next one. You're in trouble. Margaret stormed off, muttering about noise experts. That evening, Jenna Ruiz, HOA secretary, 34, nervous, knocked on my door. Wyatt, I saw your videos. You're stirring a hornet's nest. Someone's gotta, I said, offering her a chair. Margaret's out of control. Jenna's hands shook. It's worse. Earl told you about the fees? I nodded. $150,000. At least. Where's it going? She leaned in, voice low. She's got accounts. Offshore. I've seen emails, fake invoices, for river maintenance. And Wyatt. She's targeting your ranch. Wants it condemned. For safety. My jaw tightened. Condemned? Jenna pulled a USB from her purse. 2 years of records, shell companies, transfers. It's all here. I'm scared, but I can't let her ruin you. I took the USB carefully. Why help me? Her eyes teared up. She fined my sister out of her home last year over a flower bed. I won't watch it again. She left, glancing back. Like Margaret was watching. I plugged in the USB. Files loaded. Spreadsheets. Invoices. Bank statements. Money flowed in from river fees. Grants. Then out to Voss Solutions. A fake company. No address. No staff. $1.2 million. Siphoned over 5 years. I called Tessa. 1 hours a.m. Wyatt, this is dynamite, she said, scrolling files. Fraud. Embezzlement. Maybe more. We've got 18 shares now. River rights are yours. Tomorrow. Day 19. Margaret was back. Red blouse. Black pants. With a county inspector in tow. Unpermitted structure, she declared, pointing at my half-built cabin. No safety compliance. Shut it down. The inspector, Greg, mid-50s, looked at my frame. My permits. Ma'am, everything's legal. Permits filed. Inspections passed. Margaret waved. A folder. He's blocking. River access. It's a hazard. Greg shook his head. No access issues. Ma'am, the river's on his land. I was live streaming. Of course. Day 19. Folks, now my cabin's a safety hazard. Margaret's fourth call. The stream hit 600,000 viewers. Chat erupting. She's desperate. Go Wyatt. Someone donated $75. With for cabin defense. Hayes pulled me aside. She's filed 25 complaints. This month. We're on your side, but we have to respond. As they left, Margaret lingered, snapping photos, muttering about state regulators. I felt a chill. She wasn't stopping. That night, Tessa called. River rights. Secured. $90,000. County's thrilled. And 22 shares. Bought. You control. The HOA. Now, I leaned back, the heart pounding. What's next? OA meeting. 3 days. We expose her. But Wyatt. She's connected. Her brother-in-law. Roy. He's trouble. Buddy panting. By the river. I've got proof. She's stolen $1.2 million. With river rights and HOA shares. In my pocket. I'm ready to fight. But Margaret's desperate. And dangerous. Day 26. Started calm. River shimmering. Under dawn's glow. I was framing walls. Buddy chasing frogs when sirens blared. Not 2, but 5 cop cars. Roaring down my drive. Lights flashing. Like a raid. My stomach. Twisted. Margaret stood there. Obese silhouette. In her red blouse. Black pants. Waving a megaphone. Like a dictator. He's endangering public safety, she bellowed, pointing at my cabin like it was a bomb. Chief Maria Delgado, 50s, all business, stepped out with officers Hayes and Torres. Mrs. Voss, what's the emergency? Delgado asked, voice sharp. Margaret thrust a binder at her. This shack blocks emergency access. Fire trucks, ambulances, can't reach the river. She held up a map marked with red lines, claiming my cabin. Sat on a designated path. I sat down, my hammer. I kept calm. Chief, my permits are solid. That's my land, my river. No emergency path exists here. Like, Hayes checked. My folder. Nodded. Permits check out. Ma'am. County records. Show no access route. On this property. Margaret's face went purple. Impossible. I filed that designation. In 2020. It's for safety. Delgado raised an eyebrow. You filed it? Let's see. The paperwork. Margaret handed over. Her binder. Smug. Delgado scanned it. Frowned. This isn't county approved. No official seals. No signatures. I was live streaming. Phone on tripod. Day 26. Everyone. Now my cabin. Blocks a fake. Emergency path. Margaret's 5th 911 call. The stream. Hit 800,000 viewers. Fast. Chat exploded. Fake maps? Karen's done. Someone donated $100. With, for your river empire. Torres looked at Margaret, shaking his head. Ma'am, this is your 5th false report. One more, and you're facing criminal charges. Margaret clutched her megaphone. I'm protecting Riverbend. He's a menace. She pointed at Buddy, napping in the dirt. Even that dog is a hazard. Delgado's eyes narrowed. A dog and a cabin aren't emergencies. You're wasting our time. Margaret stormed off, muttering about state officials. The cops left, but I felt uneasy. She was cornered, and cornered Karen's bite harder. That evening, Jenna Ruiz, HOA secretary, slipped over, eyes darting, hands trembling. Wyatt, she knows. Someone's leaking. She's shredding files, calling her brother-in-law, Roy Voss. I leaned forward. What's she planning? Jenna pulled Another USB. From her pocket. More records. 3 years. Fake invoices. Transfers. To her accounts. She's targeting. Your river. Wants it condemned. For contamination. Mation. My pulse. Raced. Condemned? My river? Jenna nodded. Voice low. She's got a fake inspector lined up. If they declare it toxic, HOA can seize it for public safety. I took the USB, heart pounding. Why risk this? Jenna? Her eyes welled up. She fined my cousin out of his home over a birdhouse. I can't let her destroy you. She left, glancing back like a hunted deer. I plugged in. Right? The USB. Files loaded. Spreadsheets. Bank records. Invoices. Money poured in. From river fees, $500 per family. Grants. $900,000. For flood control. Outflows? To Voss Enterprises. A shell company. No office. No staff. Total stolen. $1.8 million. Over 6 years. I called Tessa, my lawyer, in midnight. Wyatt, this is federal, she said. Voice tense. Fraud, money laundering, conspiracy. We've got 24 HOA shares. River rights are yours. But Roy Voss, city council, he's her shield. I gripped my phone. What's her game? With my river? Tessa paused. Found a plan. In county files. Industrial park. Proposed. Through your ranch. Worth $20 million. If the state buys it. Roy's involved. Margaret wants your land. Part cheap. My blood ran cold. The 911 calls. The fake paths. All to force me out. So we expose her. At the HOA meeting. Day after tomorrow? Exactly, Tessa said. But she'll fight. Dirty. Be ready. Day 27. Brought a surprise. No sirens, but a letter slid under my door. 3 hours a.m. Sell your land or lose it. No signature, just a smudged M. I checked my cameras. Caught a figure in a hoodie. Too dark to ID. I sent it to Tessa. Heart racing. I prepped for the meeting. Sent an email anonymously to all 30 HOA households. Emergency meeting. Financial fraud. Exposed. Your money stolen. Show up by noon. Jenna texted. Margaret's panicking. Canceling the meeting. But 250 people RSVP'd. I set up 3 cameras. Battery backups. Mobile hotspot. No mistakes. No interruptions. This was war. Day 28. Meeting night. The community center was packed. 300 people. Whispering. Tense. Margaret arrived. Red blouse. Black pants. Hair frazzled. Clutching her clipboard. She grabbed the mic. Voice shaking. No meeting. Tonight. Just a bookkeeping error. Go home. I stood up. Laptop ready. Actually, Margaret, everyone needs to see this. Her face paled. You're not a member. No right to speak. Security. I connected to the projector. The 5 million watching this live stream might disagree. Phones came out. People recording. Murmurs rising. I clicked. First slide. River Maintenance Fund. 2021. 600,000. For Riverbend. The crowd stirred. They remembered the promises. Clean banks and safe water. Next slide. Spent $50,000. Gasps rippled through. Final slide. Missing $550,000. The room erupted. Where's our money? She lied. Margaret screamed into the mic. Lies. He's a fraud. I'll sue everyone. I kept going. Click. Bank records. Margaret's name. Transfers to Voss Enterprises. The 8th of January. $40,000. The 12th of February. $60,000. All to a fake company. Click. A photo of her new Lexus. Bought days after. A $200,000 transfer. A man stood, voice shaking. My home. Flooded last spring. That money could have saved us. The crowd grew angrier, some crying, others shouting. Margaret backed toward the door, clipboard shaking. It's for future projects? You don't understand. Future projects? Like this? I clicked. A photo of her beach condo, purchased last year. The room roared. Someone threw a pen, missing her head. Enough, I shouted, raising my hands. There's more, but stay calm. Let justice work. Final slide, total stolen. $1.8 million. River fees, grants, state funds. The crowd fell silent. The number sinking in. Doors opened. FBI agents, led by Agent Lena Cruz, marched in. Margaret Voss, you're under arrest for federal fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. Margaret bolted for a side exit, tripped on a chair. Agents cuffed her, mid-scream. This is Wyatt's fault. He framed me. I'll destroy you all. Cruz smirked. You confessed, on livestream, to 5 million viewers. Good luck. Margaret's face went white. I want my lawyer. You'll need one, Cruz said. Leading her out, the crowd cheered, tears flowing, hugs exchanged. Justice had arrived. I ended the stream. Thanks for watching. Share this. Show what happens when HOAs go rogue. Document everything. Question power. Never back down. As people celebrated, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered, cautiously. Mr. Coleman, Victor Lane, Margaret's attorney. His voice, cold, smooth. She's out, on bail, tomorrow. And she's got resources. You don't know. This ain't over. The line went dead. I looked at the river, moonlight dancing. On its surface, Margaret was down, but not out. What was she planning? Margaret Voss. She's out on bail. Her lawyer's threats, echoing in my head. The morning after, the HOA meeting. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. The live stream, exposing Margaret's fraud, hit 15 million views. News vans camped. That's Favli outside my gate. Reporters shouted, Wyatt, talk about the HOA scam. I stayed inside, heart pounding. This was bigger than I'd planned. Jenna called, voice shaky. Wyatt, Margaret's out. $800,000 bail. This morning, she's at the HOA office with her lawyer, Victor Lane. I gripped my phone. What's she doing? Filing lawsuits against everyone. You, for slander. Me, for leaking files. The HOA, for ousting her. Even the FBI, for wrongful arrest. I chuckled, despite the knot in my gut. Suing the FBI? That's bold. Jenna wasn't laughing. Victor's ruthless. Gets crooks off on technicalities. And Wyatt, she's spreading lies, saying you faked the USB evidence. I met Tessa, my lawyer, at a diner, noon. She spread papers across the table. Margaret's throwing everything, claims you. Doctored records, violated HOA bylaws. It's a scare tactic to drown us in legal costs. I leaned back, jaw tight. Will it stick? Tessa shook her head. Not with the USB and Jenna's testimony. The FBI's building a RICO case. Fraud, money laundering, conspiracy. But her brother-in-law, Roy Voss. City Council. He's pulling strings. I frowned. Strings? Like what? Tessa lowered her voice. County records. Show a proposed industrial park through your ranch. $20 million. If the state buys it, Roy's on the board. Margaret's been buying nearby land through shell companies. Your river is the key. My blood froze. The 911 calls. Fake violations. All to force me to sell cheap. So we hit her at the trial? Tessa nodded. Communities behind you. A GoFundMe for your defense. Hit $80,000 in a day. Keep the story alive. That night, my cameras caught a black truck, no plates, idling near my gate. 2 hours a.m. I saved the footage, sent it to Tessa. She's watching me. I texted. Day 30. I was back at the cabin site, laying planks. Buddy on alert. No sirens, but a dead fish on my lumber pile with a note. Cellar sink. My pulse spiked. I bagged it, called Agent Cruz. She arrived in an hour. Intimidation, she said, eyeing the note. We'll analyze it, but Margaret's careful. Likely hired someone. I showed her the truck footage. Her people? Cruz frowned. Possibly. She's moving money. Fast. Preparing for a fight or a getaway. The media storm grew wilder. National headlines screamed. Texas rancher versus HOA. Tyrant. Karen steals. River money. I gave one interview to a local station. It's not about me, I said. It's justice for flood victims. Accountability for power. Margaret hit back on a morning show, looking worn. Fake tears streaming. I'm the victim. Wyatt Coleman harassed me from day one. His cabin ruined our community. The host, skeptical, pushed back. You called 911 5 times for his legal construction. Margaret's mask slipped. He committed building crimes? The host blinked. Building crimes? The clip went viral. Number, building crimes. Trended nationwide. Memes everywhere. Cabin criminal. Karen versus lumber. But behind the laughs, things darkened. Day 32. My truck tires slashed in my drive. A note taped to the windshield. Leave or lose everything. I added more cameras, sent it to Cruz. Jenna texted, frantic. Margaret's saying, you bribed me to steal files. She's got a witness. Claims you dumped chemicals in the river. I called Tessa. A witness? That's new. Dirty play, she said. Probably paid off. Someone desperate. We'll counter with the USB. Jenna's word. That evening, Earl stopped by, limping, cowboy hat low. Wyatt. I checked. That land deal. Roy's company. Bought 15 parcels. Near your ranch. Past 4 years. Your river. It's their golden ticket. I studied his maps. Red lines cutting through my land. They'd force me to sell for the park? Earl nodded. Eminent domain. If they claim public need, Margaret's violations are to tank your property value. My fists clenched. She's not getting my river. Earl patted my shoulder. You're tough, son, but Roy's got deep connections. Date 34. Cruz called with a bombshell. Margaret's old employer, a San Antonio firm, came forward. She embezzled $500,000 8 years ago. They didn't press charges to avoid scandal. It's a pattern. Wyatt. I exhaled hard. That's big for the case, right? Yes, Cruz said. But she's cornered. Expect worse. She was right. That afternoon, Margaret confronted me At the hardware store, red blouse, black pants, eyes wild. Drop this, Wyatt, she hissed, voice low. I'll pay $600,000 for your land. Walk away. I stared, incredulous. Stolen money? To buy my river? That's a crime. Margaret. Her face twisted. I'll sign over. OA writes. Leave Texas. You'll never see me. I shook my head. You're headed to prison. That's the deal. She grabbed my arm, nails digging. I know people who'll make you regret this. I pulled away, her words sticking like burrs. That night, Jenna called, voice breaking. They smashed my car windows, left a note. Shut up. I'm scared, but I'm in. I upped security, more cameras, and floodlights. The GoFundMe hit $120,000. Community rallying. But the threats kept coming. Dead fish on my porch. Strange cars. At dawn, I barely slept. Eyes on the river. Day 30. Tessa dropped. A game changer. Found emails. On the USB, Margaret hired a fake inspector to call your river toxic. Next week, if it's condemned, HOA can seize it. My stomach dropped. We stop her. At trial? Yes, Tessa said. But her team's got a surprise witness saying you polluted the river. It's a lie, but could sway a jury. I sat heavy on my porch, river glinting, under stars. Polluted? I'd only fished with worms. Who'd lie? For her? Then it hit me. Roy Voss, her brother-in-law. How far did this go? Day 38 brought a new low. My mailbox, trashed, spray-painted. Sell or else. I sent footage to crews, added more cameras. The community was buzzing. Flood victims, planning protests for the trial. That night, Earl brought more news. Talked to a buddy at City Hall. Roy's pushing the industrial park in hard. Your ranch is the last holdout. Margaret's been buying votes with stolen cash. I stared at the river. They're rigging the system? Earl nodded. Grim. Roy's got council members in his pocket. But your videos, they're shaking things up. I checked the live stream clip, now at 20 million views. Comments pouring in. Expose them. Save the river. The world was watching. Day 40. Jenna met me at a diner 25 miles out. She looked wrecked. Margaret's shredding. More files. She knows. I'm helping you. Wyatt. She's planning something big to take your land. I gripped the USB. Jenna, you'll testify at trial, right? She nodded, tears falling. For my cousin. For everyone. She's hurt. Yes. I drove home. River gleaming. Under moonlight. Margaret wasn't just a Karen. She was a criminal with a network and a plan. But I had the river, the truth, and a community waking up. Back on my Texas ranch, sitting on my cabin porch, Buddy at my feet, the river flowing, calm and clear. The trial's done. My cabin stands tall. My river's mine. But the fight left scars. Her schemes, her threats, changed this community and me. The courthouse was a madhouse. News vans lined the streets. Flood victims waved signs demanding justice. Inside, the courtroom, packed to the rafters, live streamed to millions. Prosecutor Elena Torres opened with fire. Margaret Voss stole $1.8 million, meant to protect homes, while families lost everything. In floods, slides flashed, bank records, flooded streets. Margaret's Lexus, Her beach condo. Jurors glared. Some wiping tears, others clenching fists. Victor Lane, Margaret's lawyer, spun a sob story. My client, grieving her husband, was harassed by Wyatt Coleman, pushed to mistakes. Torres shot back. Her theft began years before Wyatt's arrival. The judge nodded. Lane's face fell flat. I took the stand, voice steady. Margaret called 911 5 times for my legal cabin on my land, my river, sawdust, noise, fake paths. Each call crazier than the last. Torres walked me through each incident, jurors chuckling at emergency access nonsense. Then the hammer. I found $1.8 million stolen from our community. Silence fell, heavy as stone. Lane cross-examined, sneering. You targeted her from day one, didn't you? I locked eyes, unflinching. I wanted to build in peace. She attacked. I followed the money. Jurors nodded. Lane sat down, deflated. Jenna testified, voice shaking, but clear. Margaret forced me to create fake invoices, shell companies. $1.8 million to her accounts. She threatened my family. If I spoke, gasps echoed. Jurors leaned in, one scribbling notes. The surprise witness, Roy Voss, Margaret's brother-in-law, city councilman, took the stand. Wyatt dumped chemicals in the river. I saw barrels. Torres pounced like a hawk. You're tied to a $20 million industrial park needing Wyatt's land, correct? Roy stammered. Documents showed his companies buying nearby parcels. He cracked. Admitted Margaret's plan to frame Wyatt, devalue his ranch. The defense crumbled. And Margaret testified, a train wreck. I deserved that money. Running an HOA is brutal. Torres let her rant, then asked, so you admit stealing $1.8 million? Margaret froze. Jurors glared. Lane buried his face. Deliberation took 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. Margaret shook, muttering, number no. At sentencing, Judge Carla Mendez was ice cold. You betrayed your community, stole from the vulnerable, showed no remorse. 10 years. Federal prison, $1.8 million restitution, plus $1.4 million. In penalties, total $3.2 million. The gallery erupted. Cheers, sobs. Flood victims, hugging tight. Margaret, cuffed, turned to me with a chilling smirk. Enjoy your river, Wyatt. For now. Her words stuck like thorns as marshals led her away. A year later, the ranch was transformed. Coleman River Park, named after me, though I stayed anonymous. Recovered funds, $1.3 million. Fixed roads, built real flood barriers. That worked. Kids fished every Saturday, learning knots from volunteers. Monthly barbecues filled the air with laughter. Buddy stealing scraps as mascot. Jenna, now HOA president, ran it clean. Open budgets, online votes, no secrets. The community healed. Flood victims rebuilt homes with proper drains. My videos sparked Wyatt's rules, OA reforms, spreading across Texas, mandating transparency, no unchecked power. One morning, a letter arrived. Prison postmark. Margaret's handwriting. Softer now. Wyatt, prison breaks you down. I lost myself. After my husband died. Your cabin. Your river. Challenged my control. I spiraled. Therapy's helping. I'm learning to let go. Thank you for stopping me. Catch a fish for me. I showed it to Jenna, now my fiancée, on my cabin porch. Sincere? She asked, sipping coffee. I shrugged. Maybe, or parole points. Doesn't matter. She's done. Then, a second letter. Rough handwriting. R, not hers. You won, but the river's not safe. Watch it. R, my heart skipped. Roy Voss? I called Agent Cruz, who added patrols, but found nothing. 5 years on, the river was our heart. Annual River Fest drew 600 people, raising thousands for flood prevention. Jenna and I, married by the water, our daughter, Lily, named for my mom, due any day. Earl passed last year, but his old hat sits on a bench by the river, engraved. Earl Grayson, truth teller. One dawn, I fished my spot, rod in hand. Buddy graying, but loyal. Footsteps, slow, hesitant. Margaret, older now, gray hair. Thrift store jeans, no red blouse, no clipboard. Can I fish? She asked. Voice small, holding a cheap rod. I nodded, pointing downstream. Public park now. Fish where you want. Number 7. She sat, 50 feet away, cast her line. Silence heavy, but not hostile. An hour passed. She caught a small bass, smiled faintly. Nice catch, I said. Simple. She looked up, surprised. Prison pond taught me patience. We fished, quiet, another hour. Then she spoke, soft. That second letter wasn't me. Roy, he's angry, blamed you for everything. I studied her, face open, no lies. What's he planning? She shook her head, quick. He's not violent, just bitter. Probably a scare tactic to mess with you. I packed up, river gleaming, Buddy at my side. Margaret, you admitted mistakes. That's something. She nodded, eyes down. Not enough, but it's a start. As I walked away, she called out, urgent. Wyatt, Roy's in Oklahoma now, out of politics. He won't come for you. I turned, gave a nod. Good to know. Back home, Jenna greeted me, hand on her belly. She's really fishing? I laughed, soft, trying to. Even Karens can change a little. That evening, Agent Cruz called. Checked Roy, he's off the grid. Small town, no trouble. Letter was likely a bluff. I exhaled, tension easing. The river, my cabin, our community, were safe. Riverfest came. A week later, families packed. The banks, kids casting lines, parents grilling, music floating. Jenna and I handed out rods to new families. The Torres kids, now teens, taught Lily's cousins to fish. A news crew did a follow-up 1 year later. How a rancher's stand saved a community. I ducked most interviews, but spoke briefly. It's not fame I wanted. It's about the river, the people, living free. The real estate agent called that week. Wyatt, 5 families, 1 in. Riverbend's hot, thanks to your park, your rules. Property values up 18%. Not from Margaret's control, but from freedom, trust, community. One evening, I sat on my porch, Buddy snoring, river reflecting stars. Jenna joined me, her hand in mine. Think she meant it? She asked. About Margaret's letter. Maybe, I said, watching the water. But the river doesn't care about apologies. It just flows. A new family waved from across the bank, their kids splashing, laughing. Earl's bench glowed under moonlight. his hat a reminder of truth's power. Margaret was a ghost now, her control washed away. The river, my river, our river, was free. Families fished without fear of fines. Gardens bloomed, no violation notices. Neighbors talked, laughed, lived. I cast a line for Dad, for Earl, for us all. Comment your story. What's a community win? And you've seen? The river's flowing, and we're just getting started.